My name is Dean Cook, W. Dean Cook. I am an attorney here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
My name is Josh Craven, and I'm an attorney also. And we're back again with another episode of Finding an Agent. So let's cover what's happened in the last week, get everybody caught up. Dean, what's been going on?
All right, well, I have worked on my list of agents. I compiled a list of 20 agents from the book that I found at the library. I basically took down names, information on contacts, and their criteria in terms of what they wanted to for submissions. From there, I started sending out query letters, either through emails or through web submission systems, depending on how they wanted to do it. I did a few of those, but then I got to one where they wanted a complete manuscript. And so I went back to my draft and I was trying to, I knew it wasn't ready to send the complete thing. It needed editing. And so I decided to sit down and start editing, and I really got into that. And so I wound up spending a lot of time editing my first draft to get it in a good format to send out the whole thing.
So how many queries did you get sent out?
Only a few. I got to like the third publisher on my list or agent on my list, and that was where they had they wanted your whole manuscript. I had already edited about the first two chapters and gotten those pretty polished because most of them were asking for about the first two chapters. And so I got to this one and I thought, well, I can either skip this agent and come back to it. But I started looking at my first draft, and the way I'd done it is I'd put some side notes in the MS Word document of things that I knew I needed to adjust or change. I thought, well, screw it. I can just go in and start making, getting rid of a few of these, things I know I have to change or add to or whatever. And so I did those, and then I really got into it and really got into the manuscript. And so I decided what the hell, I'll just do a, pretty detailed re-edit.
So how many queries with agents do you have out pending at the moment?
Like 3, not that many.
And have you heard back on any of them?
No. I think most of them said 4 to 6 weeks usually. And usually it's going to be, if you don't hear from us, we're not interested, I think was what most of them said.
And are all of these on the Matriarchs novel?
Yeah, it's all on the Matriarchs. The other novel that I wrote prior to that one, the Reconstruction one, historical fiction, I would like to go back and make some changes on that one, I think, before I start sending it out again. And I had sent out to half a dozen or so agents on that one, but I haven't really made much of an effort since then.
All right, so just to remind everybody from the last episode, Dean has 2 completed novel manuscripts that he's trying to market to agents right now. One is a historical fiction that's tentatively titled Reconstruction Reckoning, and the second is more of a science fiction dystopian type novel, tentatively titled The Matriarchs. And those are the 2 that Dean's currently looking for an agent on. But it sounds like most of your agent search right now is focused with The Matriarchs. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. And I think I think there's more of a market for that novel than the first one.
No feedback yet on any of your queries?
No feedback yet.
What have you got going on for this next week? What do you see going on?
I'm going to finish up the review of the novel. I got about halfway through it. And I will say I was pleased to see that the novel read well, and I was entertained by it because I hadn't really touched it or looked at it in a few months. And frankly, by the end of it, I was pretty sick of writing it. And so I was pleased to see that it still entertained me to read it, and that the plot seemed to, for the most part, make logical sense to me, at least. So I'll finish that up probably this weekend, and then through the week I can start sending out submissions once I've got this, first draft ready, which I think the first draft is pretty much ready. I'm curious to see how the second half of the novel looks, though.
And how long is the novel total?
It's about 100,000 words. It's the longest thing I've written, and I am pleased that I was able to grind out that many words. But I will tell you about the last 30,000 words it was tough. Like, it took a lot of discipline to get that last 30,000 out.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'll say as well. I don't know if anyone really appreciates how much work it is writing a novel until you actually sit down and push all the way through to the end. It was definitely a lot more work than what I ever thought it would be. All right, so one of the things that we're going to do is Dean's going to he's going to kind of share with everybody the elevator pitch on Matriarchs, just to kind of give people an idea of what he's sending out to agents right now. Dean, you want to share some of that with us?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. Okay. I'm writing this letter to introduce my latest novel for publication, The Matriarchs. It's science fiction with a Rip Van Winkle type time travel to a futuristic dystopia. It's written from a right-wing political viewpoint, and it's about 113,000 words. Tim and his son Gerald make camp for the night in contemporary America. They wake up in an America about 60 years in the future. Initially unaware that anything has changed, they have a series of increasingly bizarre encounters when a pair of female federal cops ask for Tim's paternal possession license. The situation turns deadly. Tim and Gerald are then separated, and the remainder of the novel is both father and son's attempts to reunite. While navigating a world engulfed in a civil war, where the more Marxist type of feminism is taken very seriously.
One of the things that I noticed is in your query letter, in your introductory pitch, you mentioned that the novel is written from a right-wing perspective. Has that fact impacted your agent search in any way, and how's that worked?
Yeah, it has. And I think I talked about this a little bit last time. I started out trying to find agents that were not in New York. I only found in that one book about a half a dozen maybe that met that criteria. And so I went to the agents that are in New York after that. I actually found one agent in the book that specifically said, I don't want to see anything that's right-wing fiction. And I think I sent that to you. And I don't want to get into, coming up with reasons for why I'm not published, and I think we talked about that a little bit last time, but, there's definitely, and at least they were upfront about it, but, there's definitely a group of agents out there that I don't think are going to be at all interested in what it is that I'm writing.
Did you come across a lot of agents that also said they didn't want any left-wing stuff?
No, there's no, that's the default, and that's not even considered, that's not really considered a political perspective. That's just considered normal. So
Yeah,
I don't even,
that's mainstream.
yeah, that's baseline. So, they don't even think of themselves as particularly having an ideology, which is, when you're in the fish tank and you don't realize it, that's usually a problem. The fish doesn't recognize it's in the fish tank.
Yeah. So what do you see? What do you got planned for next week?
Plans for next week are to, like I said, finish the last half of the novel in terms of just a quick edit, and then I'm going to start submitting to the list of agents that I've developed. So that'll be, 16, 17 agents that I still need to send out to. So that's pretty much what I'll be doing next week.
All right. Well, for me, for next week, I'm going to work on my query letter and my elevator pitch for my novel, tentatively titled The Red Phantom. And hopefully I'll have that where I can share it with people next week. I have not started querying agents on my novel. I'm still working on rewrites at the moment, but that should be in a condition where I can start querying agents very soon in the near future. All right. So,
quick question on the Red Phantom. Are you pretty close? Did you finish that one? I don't think I've read the end of that one.
That one is finished. All right. Well, I don't think we have anything else. Is there anything else?
No, I think that's it for this week. Like I said, I'm going to work on getting some more of those agent letters out, and hopefully that goes smoother once I get this process down.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Well, I'm going to work on continuing to revise Red Phantom and also work on elevator pitch and query letter. So I should have some of that to share next week for our next episode.
Cool.
All right. Well, have a good week. We'll talk to you soon.
Well, take care.
All right. Bye. Sorry, I got to start over.
I don't know why that's backwards. It's really weird.
Ah, shit. All right.
We'll get better at this as we go, I guess. And
what's going into the sausage here?
There's definitely some reflection off my head. I can't work under these conditions.